Mr. Bassman, you've got that certain something. Mr. Bassman, you set that music jumping. For you it's easy.
Right, a big welcome to all you baby boomers out there in the Chukamoama around the world. This is live stream. And we got a treat for you people this evening. For 58 years, the band called the Delltones, magical harmony sounds, entertained us all over the country. There wouldn't be a boomer out there that hasn't seen or heard the magical sounds and the harmonies of the fabulous Delltones. Well, I've got a treat for you guys because I have the big guy in the studio right now with us at EMFM 104.7. I am absolutely so honoured to say good day to the big guy himself. So here he is, Ian PeeWee Wilson. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you, Bruce. Hello to you and all the listeners.
Oh, it's just so good to hear your voice after such a long time. We like to bombard you with questions and all that, but the first thing to say is, how you going, health-wise? You good?
We're going fine, mate. Thank you very much. We're in a hiatus at the moment. We're having a rest for a while. We haven't set a date to get back together again, but it may happen sometime during the year. But I'm fine, and all the boys are fine.
Oh, wow. So we still might see it again after, what was it,
Still might see it again.
2016 you retired, unofficially?
That's right. We went off the road in 2016, and we had ideas of retiring, and so far it's been successful. However, however, we never say never.
People ask me if I retired, and I say, no, I'm just tired. I get that a lot too.
You're tired.
So, all right, mate, we'll start with some questions I've been dying to ask. So, born in 1940, the start of World War II, how did it start for you to become a singer between the 1940 and 1958? Like, what inspired you to be a singer and an entertainer?
Well, I didn't have much to do with it at all, Bruce, to be quite honest. It wasn't a plan of mine, certainly. I was a member of the Bronte Surf Club. I was a lifesaver there at the time. And I used to enjoy being a show-off after a couple of drinks at the local barbecue, get up and sing a couple, which I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
And one night, one late afternoon, a fella called Noel Weiderberg, the late Noel Weiderberg, who was also a member, just joined me with some harmonies, and I was stoked right away. I just loved listening to him do the harmonies. So we did a few of the night entertainment thing. We just met up with Warren Lucas, who was sitting at the time with another group called the Crescents. He went away for holidays after this period and came back with Brian Perkins, the other original member. And so the ensemble, the quartet, was born. We used to rehearse in the shower room down there to get an echo, and just like the old 55. And that's how it all started. Really started very early.
Well, that is just amazing. So here we go from 1940 to 1958, you're 18 years old, you run around the beach saving young girls and people from drowning, and next minute you're on the Sydney Stadium singing to 10,000 screaming girls. You must have thought you'd died and gone to heaven.
Well, look, I used to play, I couldn't hold down a decent job, but that was one of the greatest experiences. In fact, it's probably the greatest of all of my memories, was running down that stadium aisle and getting on that stage there, as you say, with 10,000 kids. Yeah. It was something else. Most of us also, right at that point, we all left our jobs that we had at the time, just went touring with that particular show, which was the Tab Hunter show at that time, an actor who did very well on the charts.
Wow.
So it was. We were into it really, really very early. And we only had a repertoire of half a dozen songs, when we did that show. It was incredible.
And Johnny O'Keefe picked this up really quick, because he was, a year or two before you guys, when he was sort of fired up and starting his shows and all that. Is that right? Just before you people?
That's right. That's it. Right. He had a charter that was on the charts at that time called So Tough, and but we joined him on that first show at the stadium and did his backings for him, along with some of the other ones like Johnny Devlin and Johnny Reb. We were doing their backings for them on the show. And then, of course, as I said, we went on tour and came back. And then, of course, Johnny O'Keefe's 6 O'Clock Rock, the television show on Channel 2, was born. And we were regulars on that show. Much the same year then, we went over to Bandstand, which was also going strong, and started to do songs on that show. So we were going between those two television shows. And this, of course, put us right in the limelight, and everybody knew in that period who the Delltones were.
Yeah, well, the television only came out, was a 56, was it, a couple of years before you guys fired up? Was it 1956
That's
in
right.
Australia? So do you ever think, I was just at the right place at the right time? Do you ever sort of think,
Oh, most
you know?
definitely.
Oh, it's just
Most definitely, Bruce. We were at the right place at the right time. There's no doubt about that. And it was a lot of luck involved. Mind you, the hit parade that we had at the time, the top 40 we used to call it, was full of all sorts of different types of material, all different types of songs, including rock and roll. You had everything called Richard, Pat Boone. You had Frank Sinatra. You had all this mixture of different styles and genres of music going on. So it was a bit of a competition. But we were fortunate because our first song, called G, was played on the radio by Bob Rogers, the big #1 disc jockey at the time, and that gave us our start.
Wow. But you guys was just so good. I just I look at the old clips of the Sydney Stadium and bandstand with Hendo, and they had a rivalry, didn't they? The bandstand and the 6 o'clock rock. Was it the same time? Was there a bit of a rivalry with the show?
Well, you're right on, Bruce. There was a rivalry. Of course, Johnny O'Keefe was called the Wild One. That was his nickname. And the show was rather offbeat and straight ahead. No commercials, of course, on Channel 2.
Yep.
Nevertheless, there was this rivalry where it was the rockers, the heavy rockers on Johnny O'Keefe's show, and on Bandstand, of course, we had pop singers, and they were singing the popular songs of the day and their own recordings. But it was a friendly rivalry, and both O'Keefe and Hendo were good friends.
Good. He went for so long, didn't he, Brian Henderson? A long time.
Well, that show was on for, I think, if my memory is correct, it's about 15 years. But, of course, O'Keefe's 6 o'clock rock only went on for about 18 months, I think, the most.
Ah, right.
Short-lived. Yeah. He moved over to Channel 7 then and did a show called, I think it was called then the Johnny O'Keefe Show.
Right. Can you tell me a bit about the Wild One, Johnny O'Keefe? What was he like? I know he was a little bloke and he used to scream a lot.
Well, all of us agreed at that time that he was a bit enigmatic, and he was a pretty hard fellow to get to know intimately, because he was pretty wild. There was no doubt about it. He showed a tremendous performance. He was watching James Brown. He was watching the other Little Richard. He was watching these other performers from America. He really did live the rock and roll ethos.
Yeah.
He was the wild one on and off stage. He was definitely a very hard man to get to know very well.
Yeah.
But he was a tremendous performer. I don't think anybody thought that Johnny had a wonderful voice. He didn't. But he certainly had charisma, and he certainly had a great sense of showmanship, which used to break through. Even the Americans couldn't compete with him when we were on the stadium shows. They just couldn't compete with him. He was just over the top.
Wow, yeah, well, that's a good mate of mine, Trevor Gleeson, who's a beautiful singer. He's in his 80s now. He's from Ballarat and Travel, Victoria. You might have caught up with Trevor and Chiodo. And we did our album down there with the Teddy Boys, and he used to talk about Johnny O'Keefe. He said the same thing. He said he wasn't the greatest lead singer, but overrun everyone else with the showmanship and the kicking the heels up and run, yeah, and the energy and the screaming. It would have just sent the girls mad, because you look at the old clips and I think, I wish I was there, because I come a bit later, but it would have been just the most amazing time to be a teenager in the 50s and the 60s, growing up with all that. It would have been just
absolutely,
magical.
Bruce, absolutely. Of course, there was so much new coming out. I mean, the music itself was just incredible, and how it quickly was picked up by all the young kids, and it was more than that. Of course, it was the birth of teenage power, if you like, because the teens started to get their pocket money and started to buy the records. And but you're right, it was a fantastic and really joyous time to be alive in those days with that music all around the place. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I read a lot about that in an old rock and roll book I've got of how it all started, and the kids were bored with the parents and the uncles and the aunties and the grandparents' music. It was all repertoire, and you had to listen to this and that. And when the rock and roll came out, they just, they cut loose. It was like letting a dog out of a pen that had been penned for a week, and they opened the gate and away they went. And I just love it. I love watching the Alan Freed thing with Jerry Lee and all that stuff how it happened in that very, very short time. How it drove the parents mad, and they smashed the records and went up playing this evil music and right across America. But it didn't work. It often went and look at it now, you know. And I reckon if some of the DJs could come back and bring those singers back, we'd fix it all. Because I don't know what they're singing about or they're doing these days, but something about your era and that rock and roll is just magic. Now, the Sydney Stadium, PeeWee, the Tin Shed, that's not there, obviously, but where was that?
Well, that was at Rushcutters Bay, right in Rushcutters Bay, right opposite the Sailing Club. It was originally built, of course, for a boxing match. It was a world-class boxing match. I just forget who the two boxers were. I think it was, I just forget anyway. But it was built for that, and it had an open top. It didn't even have a top on it. But,
wow!
They put a top on it too. Yeah, it was an open area. Seats made out of forms and which were the bleachers. Some of the kids, the cheap seats were up behind a wired fence, and the kids used to just sort of put their fingers through the fence and scream their heads off. It was as I said before, it was originally for boxing. They closed it off, and it was. I think it wasn't Lee Gordon that did the first show there. All the early shows, they decided to put a roof over it, a tin roof over it. It was a fantastic atmosphere. Terrible sound, though, Bruce. Really, it wasn't very good at all. And we were working in those days without monitors, you know. All we could hear was the front of house, and we were trying to tune on the front of house. Nevertheless, it didn't make any difference to the kids. They just loved it anyway.
Yeah, because it was all brand new, and it was for them. They felt it. They didn't. They often say that they didn't look at it and listen to it. They felt it, and it was just something so new. And we've been feeling it ever since, and, you know, I come here every week to my rock and roll show, and I start dancing around the table, and I just absolutely love it. It never changes. I never get tired of it. And I
don't either.
And so that Sydney Stadium, what's there now, PeeWee? Do you know what's there now? Probably houses or something, isn't it?
No, it's all gone. It's completely gone. You wouldn't. There's no vacant lot there or anything. There's a highway running. There's a turnpike there. There's nothing there that would even resemble the stadium. It's been obliterated, taken off. But of course, we also worked the festival halls in Brisbane and Melbourne. They were good venues too, you know, Bruce. They were terrific venues.
Yeah, well, you would have played
as many as the stadium.
You would have played in every major venue in the country dozens of times. The festival hall in Melbourne, that was where the Beatles played. The festival hall.
That's indeed true, yeah.
Yeah, for half an hour, and they couldn't hear anything, and no one could hear anything, and everyone just screamed, and I reckon it was just the greatest time. I know some people that were there, and they'd tell me that's all that happened. It was just screaming for half an hour. What a great time. Where did the name?
They felt it.
Yeah, they felt it. Where did the name Delltones actually come from? I heard Dell's a Spanish thing, is it?
That's right. It's a Spanish word meaning so it's really the tones. That's how it came about. That was brought out by Warren Lucas, the late Warren Lucas, one of the original members. He brought it up. We thought it was a great idea.
Oh, right.
At that time, there's been other groups called the Delltones over the years.
Yeah.
However, we've really established it here in Australia. I remember it was Dick Dale had a band. His backing band was called the Delltones, and he was coming out here. But they had to drop the Delltones. They didn't want to compete. So that was a good idea, I thought.
Oh, good, yeah. Now, there's another question I want to ask you. Did you ever learn an instrument?
No, I did. Look, I all those years I didn't. I figured I was the front man doing all the talking, so I didn't get round to doing an instrument. We were basically a quartet, a doo-wop quartet to start off with. Brian Perkins, one of the original boys, was a drummer. Cole Lochner, of course, went on. He was a piano player, and he joined us later on, Colin. But originally, Noel Weiderberg was the original lead singer who we lost. The late Noel Weiderberg, we lost a car accident. He was a piano player, but the two guys that didn't play instruments were Warren and myself. However, in the 90s, I picked up the guitar and got my 3 chords off, and I used to play a cameo role with the band.
Oh, did you?
Which they let me do for a while. Sorry?
Yeah, I was a drummer for 10 years. I did 2 or 3 shows a year for 10 years as a kid from 13 to 23, and I tried about 150 times, I reckon, to play guitar, and it just wasn't made for me. I just can't do it. It's a frustrating instrument. When you watch the guys play them and they're really, really good, you think, how do you do that? It's just one of them things. But
Well, I agree.
I just think, no,
I agree.
you
I
guys can
agree.
do it. Throw it in the corner. Still got my guitar.
As I said, they let me play now for just the one song for a little bit. But I've got to keep on top of it.
Yeah, well, your voice is the instrument anyway, so the bass thing, that's an amazing thing. So why don't we hear that beautiful voice, PeeWee, and we'll play one of my favourite songs from the Delltones. It's called Come a Little Bit Closer.
Come a little bit closer, and you will see. Yeah, you'll see.
I was meant for
You, dear, and you were meant for me. Let our love grow stronger as the years go by. Let our love last longer than the stars in the sky. A daffodil can fade and die. A floating river sometimes runs dry. A sky of blue can turn to gray. But my love for you is here to stay. Come a little bit closer and you will see. Yeah, you'll see.
I was meant for
You, dear, and you were meant for me. Let our love grow stronger as the years go by. Let our love last longer than the stars in the sky. So be my love, and I'll be true. Darling, forever I'll cherish you. You'll share my dreams, you'll share my heart, and come what may, we'll never part. Come a little bit closer, and you will see. Yeah, you'll see.
I was meant for
You, dear, and you were meant for me. Let our love grow stronger as the years go by. Let our love last longer than the stars in the sky. Come a little bit closer. 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 Come a little bit closer.
Well, we're back again with PeeWee from the Delltones, and we had one of their big hits, Come a Little Bit Closer. It took a little while to get a hit. You know, you had these beautiful songs, and from 58, 59, 60, it's not all beer and Skittles, is it, PeeWee? People think, you sing these songs and you make millions of dollars, but it's a lot of times it's not like that.
No, it's not a lot like that. And you're quite right. It was a slow start. We had our first song called G, which was a very short song. It was only around for 2.5 minutes. It didn't have the bass vocal in there, but or the falsetto. But it was a good little catchy little tune recorded originally by the Crows. And you know, Bruce, in those days we weren't encouraged to write our own songs. They didn't encourage us at all. Although Whiterbee went on to write a couple of songs. But following up with G, we had a song called You're the Limit, which did very well for us in Sydney. But it didn't do so well in the other capital cities. But then, of course, we went on to record Get a Little Dirt on Your Hands, the last recording made by Noel Waterberg. And that was a hit for us. That got to number 3 for us in Sydney and in the top 5 in the other capital cities. So that was our really first introduction.
One of my favourite songs of all time still is that. I sing it a lot. I just love it. It's the harmonica, or I don't know, the whole thing. It's just a beautiful song.
Well, it is a great song, and we're very proud of it. And it went up the top, but it was a little bit different to our genre of music. It wasn't a full-on doo-wop song, but it still had all the harmonies there and the full-on harmony chorus. And it was a great. The lyrics are really good in it, and we're very proud of that song. And we dedicate that song during our show to Noel Waterberg. As I say, it was his last recording.
Yes, I remember. I've seen the Delltones a fair few times, and I remember you usually say that. And that must have been a horrible time when Noel was killed in that accident for yourself as a mate and the band. It must have just been
terrible, Bruce. Terrible.
I wouldn't even imagine.
It was a major shock, and the band just fell apart. You know, we just said, well, that's it. That's it for us. We won't do it again. But we had encouragement from Noel Weiderberg's family and from various fans and so forth to put the band together again. And that's what we did with, that's when Cole Loughlin joined us. And we went on to have Come a Little Bit Closer and Hang on Five, which were two of our strongest songs in that period.
Yeah, great songs. What do you reckon you're only going to go for a year or two at the start and then go back to your jobs and that'll be it? Because rock and roll was never going to last. It was going to end and it was just one of those fads. But it didn't happen like that, did it?
Indeed, that's the way we saw it. It looked like that. Everybody was telling us it wasn't going to last. They said, listen, don't give up your day job, which we did. They said, don't give up your day job, which we did, as I said, which we did. But as I say, you're quite right. We all thought it was only going to last a couple of years, and then we were going to go back to getting a real job. But that wasn't the case. It went on and on and on and on.
And on and still. Hey, there's a question too, speaking of music and videos and stuff. Can I ask you a question about that fantastic song, Get a Job? You did it later in the 70s and you did a video clip, Get a Job. You're a mechanic at an old petrol station, the start of the song.
That's right.
What was that?
That's right.
Was that 78? What year was that?
Oh, you've got me tricked. I don't remember that. No, I think it was in the 80s. So it would have been around about 85 or something, 86. I think that's when it was.
Right, because you
I'm only.
Because you had the comeback in was it 78? You came back and.
Well, that's where we came back, but we didn't really make any roads until we had Bop Till You Drop the album.
Right.
Which went first number 2 on with that revival album that shot up the charts, and that put us back. So that wasn't until around about early 84.
Right.
A couple of years there, we were sort of building and changing members. There was a lot of changing going on until we finally settled in 84 and 83. But it went on to have Bop Till You Drop in 84. And Get a Job was the single that was lifted off that album. Yeah, we recorded that up on the Blue Mountains in Sydney, or just out of Sydney, and you're right. We had those wonderful words. Yip 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 yip. Bum, 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 bum,
Get a Job.
Yeah, that's right. I remember it.
That was a great video clip, and I think that made it onto Countdown. We might have seen it on Countdown. Was it, or was it? Well, we saw it a lot when I was a kid. I was only about 18.
Well, it was certainly on Donny Sutherland. Donny Sutherland had a show called Sounds, and it was on there.
On Saturday mornings.
I don't remember being on Countdown, but it could have got on.
But so Donny was doing the Saturday morning show.
That's right,
Sounds Unlimited. Now where was that actual garage? That garage where you had the white mechanic overalls, and you were talking to a dog, a little puppy dog.
That was me scratching my head, you know.
Hang on, I missed
the fleas off.
Oh, right, yeah. And I'm not a normal mechanic. And then you start singing a song. And next minute, there's the three of you sitting in this boat the size of a bathtub in a lake somewhere. And then you're carrying and that car in the video, what was that? A gold, looked like a Fairlane looking thing with a convertible. But it was an American job, I think.
I think it was might have been an Impala, I think, a Chevrolet Impala.
Yeah.
Sure, but it was something like that.
That was a great video clip. I really love that.
Big thing.
Who was the beautiful...
We had fun doing that clip, you know.
Yeah.
We had great fun.
Well, you looked like you were having the time of your life, and you ended up in a cafe singing it. You're all sitting there like at the malt shop, you know. And who was that beautiful blonde lady that was in the clip?
Well, that had to be my daughter.
Oh, your daughter, was it?
That was my daughter.
And
that was my daughter, Roxanne, yeah.
Oh, she's an actress.
And by the way, she's an actress. By the way, that clip was done and directed by Yahoo Serious.
Oh, yeah.
Which was around the time that he said to me, "I'll do your Get a Job clip for you, and you can play my father on my movie that I'm making, which he was only making in 16 mil."
Oh, the Yahoo Serious.
Time was going to be Yahoo Serious. That's right. Yeah. And he said, "I'll do your clip, and you do my movie." And I said, "Okay, that's a fair deal."
That's great.
And that's how that came about.
And the girl who had the blown-up motorbike or the car or something in the clip, that was the same girl, was it? She jumped into the car with you.
That's right.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's right.
She was a dish.
Yeah.
That was,
done.
That was
Sure
great.
Was.
And like I say, in the cafe, you look like you're having so much fun. And this is what I try to say to young people today that got this funny music they listen to. I don't even know. I don't even understand it. And I say, you should go back and listen to some 50s, 60s rock and roll, look at some clips, and just look at the people smiling, the grins on their faces, and the energy of the sound of the music itself. And I suppose that's why I keep doing it, because it just makes me happy, watching, listening to it. It's just...
Yeah, that's absolutely right, mate. It's rock and roll is good for the soul.
Oh, it is, yeah. Now, mate, I had a nice old bloke I used to know in Ballarat. His name was Michael Carmody. He was a piano player, and he said he knew Johnny O'Keefe really well. He used to write songs. I wonder if you remember the guy. He'd be about your age.
Not I don't. No, Bruce, I don't remember. He may have known Johnny. He kept the songwriting. I mean, he did write So Tough, which was later on a big hit for an American guy whose name has slipped me now. He's having a senior's moment. But O'Keefe was a writer too, and some of the songs on his album he wrote. But the fellow you're talking about, I don't remember now.
Right, lovely bloke. He talked. He said he knew Johnny well. He said he was a very nervous bloke, like you said, sort of shy and off stage, different to what you'd see on stage.
Oh well, yeah, but he sometimes he was just as wild off sometimes as he was on. He was a real party goer, I can tell you that.
What a shame he didn't live that long, because what was he, 40?
No, it is.
2 or 3, yeah, very young. And he had the big car
Very
accident.
very sad affair.
Yeah.
Yeah, very sad affair. But as I said before, he really lived the rock and roll ethos. He was a rock and roller through and through.
Yeah. I love that when they get a song right for Johnny, it was perfect. She's My Baby and whatever the big hits he had, they were really, really good. Because I say to people, everyone can sing, just that some people can sing better than others. But once you get a song that suits you, it's full on, you know. So he had some songs that just really suited him. They're just great. How hard was it to replace members? Because I was in the Teddy Boys. It was so hard if someone left, get them back on board, the next bloke, to do those harmonies and set it all up again. And it must have been a logistical nightmare sometimes if your members come and went, because you had a few, didn't you?
We did. As a matter of fact, there's been about 20-odd singers and players come in and out of the Delltones over their long, nearly 60 years incarnation. The changing members was always difficult. But one thing about it was that, and I think that's one of the essence of that early doo-wop music, and all of the songs that we do in particular, they're not complicated songs. They're aimed at the feet and the heart, and they're not difficult chord progressions, as you know. They're not super smart or anything, but they have an appeal, and it appeals to the young at heart, which is what we were after, what we were trying to do. But you're right, it was a bit of a nightmare, changing the members and doing all the harmonies and running the harmonies over and over again. But we managed it, and this band, of course, that's in hiatus at the moment, they've been around for a damn long while.
Oh, good.
Probably the longest performing combo of the Delltones, because those early years they were pretty fast. You know, Whiteberg was only with us for about 4 years, and then Colin Loughlin was with us for about 6 or 7 years. But we've been changing members ever since. But it's pretty difficult, but we get around it.
I talked to a lot of young musicians today, and you go out and you see a couple of young blokes or a girl and a bloke sitting in the corner of a place, and they've got a machine in front of them, a machine behind them, and they're touching buttons, and they're singing away all these songs, and no one really even listens to them, the poor things. And if they don't have machines and stuff, they don't really sing harmonies. It's not their fault. I think they didn't see it all. They didn't grow up in the 70s and the 60s, and it all relies on these silly drum machines and things, and they don't actually learn the craft. You know, you guys, when I watch the Delltones, I'm standing there and I'm staring at all the different blokes, and I'm listening, I'm trying to find out who's doing what, because it's just so good, those voices. And to do it live, the kids just can't seem to do that today. Not as many as what used to back then. Because if you didn't work and sing, like if you didn't play your instrument and sing, you usually didn't work or play in a band.
Right.
Today, I just feel a bit sorry because I think they've all missed something.
Yeah, I think so. You look at those clips on YouTube and read the comments underneath it, and you can see how that you and I, who both love that sort of genre of music, we're not alone. There's plenty of other people do, and of course the Delltones were known for their live performance, and so that's what we focused on, really. Our recording career has been a bit sketchy, apart from those early recordings, which we had in those days, like Hang Out 5 and Come a Bit Closer. It's been pretty hard for us to get anything from those years on, from the 70s, late 70s, 80s and the 90s, to get them onto the charts. Very hard to do. I think part of the reason being is that, you know, trends change, as you know, Bruce. Things change, and young people get their own sort of music. And I listen to the music today, and the kids are a bit different today than they were back in our day.
Very different.
They're a lot different. So I suppose they're playing the music that suits the genre, suits the kids that are around today. They seem to love it. You know, the girl that's on the top now that's doing so well, not Katy Perry, the other one.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Yeah, now she's the biggest record seller of all time. You know, now the biggest artist of all time. So it says something about the sort of technological world we live in, and how their records are getting played, and how film clips are coming out. And the young people today, I mean, they're along there doing much the same thing as we were doing back in our day, singing along with the choruses and so forth. So, you know, even though it's different, it's not the same type of music. It's not the happy-go-lucky music that we know, but it's music nevertheless, and music triumphs. It's still out there, and music's still a very important part of young people's life.
Yeah, it's amazing to get 100,000 people, 3 or 4 nights in a row at the MCG or whatever it was. It's just, you'd be unheard of, you know. Just a girl running around by herself on stage and dancing, and I don't know what they do, but yeah, the kids all got their phones and they got their computers and that social media.
I don't know what they do.
So
yeah, well, a lot of it's on production, of course, and that's what the kids used to today. They used to see big productions. Of course, in our day, the day you talk about, which was the heyday of pop and rock music. I mean, we were working, as I said before, with no monitors. We had no ear monitors. We had no lighting, just a spotlight, a couple of spotlights, and no lighting.
Yeah.
And the equipment was really substandard. But nevertheless, we still had a great time.
Oh, yeah, it's still the best harmony band I've ever heard in my life. I've been to America. I've watched heaps of them, and you know that voice. Can I ask you, PeeWee, is that completely natural with the way you're born, or do you train to get it like that? I mean, it's just phenomenal listening to it. How do you do it? But before we get into that, PeeWee, let's play another great hit from the Delltones called Hanging 5, and then we'll come back and talk about that beautiful bass voice.
Oh, well, it's early in the morning and it's time to make a start, and I put my poly surfboard on the rack upon my car. I head down to the surfside where the waves are breaking fine. I'm gonna catch a mountain, but I won't go down the mine. You gotta walk the plank, ride the hook, corner left and right, and keep it nice and tight. And now the time is drawing near. You're moving down the wall. Now steady as she goes. You got your toes upon the nose, and now you're hanging five, hanging five, hanging five toes upon the Malibu. And now you've hit the beach and you're feeling mighty fine. You turn your boat around for the second time. You make it out the back. Swells are coming fast. The first ones are too small, and so you take the last. You gotta walk the plank, ride the hook, corner left and right, and keep it nice and tight. And now the time is drawing near. You're moving down the wall. Now steady as she goes. You got your toes up on the nose, and now you're hanging five, hanging five, hanging five toes upon the Malibu. Let's stop. The day is over and all the circuits meet. You go down to the surf club to dance and stomp and beat. And when the night is through, you hear the fellas say, don't forget tomorrow, you got another day. You gotta walk the plank, ride the hook, corner left and right, and keep it nice and tight. And now the time is drawing near. You're moving down the wall. Now steady as she goes. You got your toes up on the nose, and now you're hanging five, hanging five, hanging five toes upon the Malibu, up on the Malibu.
You know you gotta walk the plank, Frank. ahead, Frank. What's that bushy blonde hair do?
So we're back now with PeeWee from the Delltones. And, mate, how lucky were you to have that natural bass voice at that particular time?
Fortunately for me, this is how lucky I was to even get in the original Delltones. There was room there in a doo-wop ensemble for a bass voice.
Yeah.
And it was natural for me. I had no lessons at all. None of the band had lessons. We felt that if we went to music school and started to learn to sing proper, put that in italics, to sing proper, it might have spoiled the sound, the feel of the rock songs that we love to do, the harmony songs we love to do.
Yeah, that's
so it was natural for me, and all of the guys were lucky that they had a natural voice, a baritone voice, and the second tenor and the tenor with the harmony vocal in between there. So it all the voices were baritone. Brian Perkins, the original guy, had a lighter voice than me, but he suited that baritone part. And the second tenor, Morris and Noel had soft voices up the top there. So we were fortunate that it was pretty natural, the voices. They all fell into line into the quartet.
Now, because you're a big guy, there used to be a theory, the bass singers are all really big, but I've watched the guy from the Oak Ridge Boys and a band called Home Free. Have you ever seen Home Free?
I might have, but the name doesn't ring a bell. What, are they
American.
Similar to the Oak Ridge Boys?
Yeah, but just harmonies, just mind-boggling. The best nearly you get in the world. And they had a bass bloke, and he's only a little guy. And I just don't know how he does it. I think they're born different. But with you being a big guy, does that help your voice being deep? Or is that a myth?
Well, probably a bit further to come from the bottom, from the diaphragm. But it, as I say, fortunately, I've been lucky. That's been a natural voice. But all the guys that were with me were normal height. But I think most of our lead vocalists were smaller. All of them were the smallest in the group. So there may be something there too. If you look at Frankie Valli, for example. Frankie Valli's a small guy, and the Four Seasons were all reasonably tall. So maybe it is something there. Who knows? Now,
getting back to that young, I don't know who was the best singer or what. They're all different, but I love the little guy, Danny Mayers. Is that how you spell it? Pronounce it? Your lead singer.
That's it. Danny Mayers.
The little English accent.
That's him.
He
was from Oldham.
Yeah, he was fantastic, and he was with you a long time. And I saw you guys in 1988 in Perth. And the short blonde-headed guy was touring with you then. Danny wasn't with you.
Oh, that was Nevin McLean.
Nevin
McLean, yeah.
And you did a show there, and you had James Blundell, I think, was one of the support acts.
That'd be right.
Yeah, country singer.
That'd be right.
And I saw you guys at Ballarat many times, and Kyton and I, we had a chat with my young son.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Met your young boy.
Yeah, he's 29 now.
Yes, I remember that well.
Good on you. That was great. He's still got the photo sitting there. What do you? We were talking that night about the big bands like the Delltones used to come to Ballarat a lot, and then you stopped coming there. And I reckon the big places sort of got a bit greedy. They wanted more money. It was all about the money all the time. And I don't know if it was the crowds not turning up, but you ended up playing at Kyton, and you said that it was much better to go there than Ballarat. Can you remember the changing like that? The big cities where you stopped.
Well.
Because they stopped going up the country places, and they just went up and down.
I think you said earlier that that we've probably played most of the bigger venues, but we've also played at all the small venues in this country. We carried our own lights, we carried all of our own sound, and so that meant that we could do all these smaller venues. But to be quite honest, Bruce, right from the get-go, right from 1959, 58, 59, money has never been an issue. It's never been an issue with the band. Particularly in those early years, we would have worked for nothing. So the reality with the band is that we just love to work. We love to perform. We don't like sort of hanging around waiting for the next gig.
Yeah.
So we would do different gigs, but that might have been a failure. For example, we might not have got a crowd there, so we moved to Kyton. But we went back to Ballarat, and we've done Ballarat many times after that. It just depends on how the tour goes too. Sometimes we can take a tour because Carla, my dear wife, used to manage the band, and also got all the tours arranged. And so it's a pretty big job. It's a pretty pull all these venues together.
Yeah.
And you probably know with your experience that sometimes you just can't get the venues to run and coordinate. So you just got to go to another town and do that. That's how we ended up at Kyneton.
Because I noticed a lot of bands stopped going to Ballarat. There was a certain time where all of a sudden you just couldn't go and see them there. You had to go to Melbourne. Or that Kyneton gig, that was fantastic. It had these sort of make-up stair chairs in the hall, and I remember taking Jake and listening to the end of that Blue Moon song, and that must have been, that was another question. Would that be one of the main features of people coming to see PeeWee and the Delltones, is the end of that song, the Blue Moon?
Oh, well, as I mentioned as I mentioned after the song, I borrowed that note or stole that note from Kamal. But to be quite honest, songs like that, of course, which we've done on television so many times, it wasn't our song. It was done by a group originally called the Marcells. Well, we made it a hit for them out here.
Yeah.
We covered it and did it so many times on our live performances and also on Bandstand and 6 O'Clock Rock. So the audience really thought it was our song. We appropriated it, I must admit. But however, it was popular and it stayed with us right through to the very end.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's
still there.
It's just fantastic. There's been bands that have done cover songs, and it's funny, when I was a kid in the 70s, they play a song on Countdown because we grew up through all that, and there was hit after hit after hit, and my mum would say, "Oh, Bruce, that was a song when I was a kid." And I said, "No, it wasn't." And then they'd play it, and I'd go, "Oh, gee, it was too." So we didn't even know half of the songs that were revived 20 years later, and now they're doing it again, and they're doing it again. So the Blue Moon's your song, PeeWee. It's just
That's
it. It's a great song. I'll just tell everyone that you wrote it. So that's the way it goes. So now, a good friend of mine, I've got to meet him heaps of times, and I've sung with him a couple of times, is Frankie J. Holden and Old 55. What did you think of that band?
Terrific band.
Weren't they just fantastic?
Yeah, they're fantastic. No, they're a terrific band, Bruce. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they had to break up. And he's quite a character, a good actor.
Frankie
J, good actor.
They broke the
And
mold.
they put on a great show.
Yeah, they broke the mold with the mate, Frankie. He's a very funny bloke. He came to my house and we had 200 people in a 20-piece rock and roll band in my backyard when I was 40. And he turned up and stayed the whole day and sung songs. And, gee, he's a great bloke. Caught up with the beach man about 3-4 years ago down at Sapphire Coast at Tarthra. He's got a caravan park and he lives down there at Pambula. And we sung a few songs that night. He's still going. He's singing at 70-something. He's just incredible. But that band, they were so good. I sort of followed those guys a lot as a kid growing up. Another role model. I remember it's funny, I was about 5 or 6 years old and I was living down in Geelong. I was born in 1964 and I heard you singing a song as I was a little kid. And I went up and said to Mum, because we had a transistor back then, you know, the tranny in the backyard, we used to call it. And I said, "Mum, that man sounds funny. That's really funny. He makes me laugh." And I was hearing this ba-ba-ba-boom, boom, ba-boom, boom. And I don't know what song it was, but it was you guys. And it stuck with me ever since. And every time I hear it, I go back to when I was a little kid and I was in the backyard listening to this funny man on the radio making this funny sound. So isn't that funny?
A bit of nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, so I suppose you'd be remembered so much for that bass voice. It's just amazing. Who's your favourite bass singer in the world, PeeWee? Do you have one?
Well, you know, Bruce, it's a good question because there's not too many of them about them, too many that you hear. But the guy of the Oakridge Boys, you mentioned before, I forget his name, but he had a wonderful voice. Lovely. And as you say, he wasn't tall.
No, he was a freak.
But he had a tremendous voice.
Very freaky voice. And he was that, little guy. And what was that song? Eyes that look like heaven, lips like cherry wine. Elvira, that was the song. And
Elvira, yeah.
Yeah, and the bass voice in that is just beyond belief. You reckon you couldn't do it?
Yeah. They use that line, the Papa Mau Mau.
Yeah, they did too. That's right.
Mau Mau, which has been used so many times. Yeah, right. Well, of course, that particular line, Papa Mau Mau, was done by the Oakridge Boys. They were sued for royalties for that because they stole it from the Marcells.
Oh, right.
And there was a court case for that. So that happened there, which is very, very odd. We've never been sued. which is a good thing. I don't want to do that. But you asked me who's my favourite bass vocalist. Well, the guy it's a fella called Thurl Ravenscroft. Now, you probably wouldn't have heard of him, but he was with a choir called the Norman Luboff Choir. Right. And he also did a Walt Disney movie called Fantasia. And he did a lot of performing and singing in that. And he's got a voice to die for. Wonderful. He'll even give the guy from the Overage Boys a run for his money. It was fantastic.
Wow.
But there are few, Bruce. They're few and far between.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it so good when you listen to a proper, beautiful bass voice like yours. You'd have to be up there the best in the world. Live, it's just incredible. And then that's what amazes people because they go, "How does he do that? Where's that sound coming from?" And that's what I do when I go and watch the Delltones. That I just sit there and watch everyone listen to all the voices. It's just great. And
thanks.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Now, the other great band that I really loved and I've followed for years and I've seen them a heap of time was Wickety Whack. I know they were a show band. But
wonderful.
Those guys were such good singers too, weren't they? You would have known them being up in Queensland.
Weren't
they? Yeah. Some of them aren't with us anymore, but I saw them half a dozen times. And I saw them back in the 80s when they used to play and sing and play all their instruments as well. And then later on they just sang and they had a backing band. But Little Pony, the Maori guy, and Greg, the leads, they were funny. But their voices were just sensational. Yeah, I wish
they were.
Yeah. So you would have probably known some of those guys or seen them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were huge, particularly in Queensland. They were monstrous.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got old 55 and Wickety Whack and the Delltones, and we were spoiled rotten as kids watching all you people. It's great. And then the Teddy Boys popped up, and you guys inspired us to start all that. That's what happened. So it was your fault, PeeWee, that I did that.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, good.
I'm glad it's my fault.
Yeah. Now, you did a bit of acting, the Einstein thing. What's this Whiskey A Go-Go Fire thing? Were you guys involved in that, or were you there? I was reading something a while back about it.
Well, we were the act. We were the act on that night that it got bombed, the fire bombed. We were the act, and we were lucky enough to get home early, only by about 15 minutes, I reckon.
Jeez.
Probably even less. But we just got out of there before it blew up. Yeah, it was a very, very sad affair. The band that was playing there, the house band, lost one of its singers as well.
Oh, wow.
Caught in the fire, trying to get out through the window. Yeah, no, it's a horrible affair. Affair.
Yeah, you can write.
We survived it.
Have you written a book, PeeWee? You need to write a book about your life, and it'd be a big fat book. Have you got one?
Oh, I'll tell you what we'll do, Bruce. Yeah, but we have one. Well, we have one out now called "Come a Little Bit Closer: Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll."
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a book. It's available. You can tell your listeners it's available on the website.
Right.
It's called "Come a Little Bit Closer."
Come a little bit as a song. Yeah.
It's not the same as the song. Yeah. What is it called? Harmony. I don't even remember. I remember the title. "Come a Little Bit Closer," but it had a subtitle on it.
Right.
Harmony and Disorder or something like that. Anyway, nevertheless, it's out and it's released. It's on our website, and it's called "Come a Little Bit Closer."
Right.
And it, unlike Cliff Richard's book, which as you know is all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, my book is about family and the Delltones touring and the different members that have come and gone, and sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Right.
So I've got everything in there.
When I caught up with you at Kyneton, you said to me, Bruce, when we were young, all that mattered was beer, surfing, and women. You didn't know which order, but that was really funny when you told me that, because even Jake laughed and he'd keep going a bit. It was drinking, beer, surfing, and girls.
That's it, and girls, and chicks. Yeah, that's spot on. That's right. That's what we're there for. That first 10 years.
Great.
It was good fun,
mate. What's your favourite song? Does Pee-wee Wilson have a favourite song?
Well, look, I've got to say to you, I don't have a definite favourite, and my favourites keep changing. But one of the groups that I did admire, and they had a different sound altogether from us, was the Beach Boys.
Ah, yeah.
And so when I listen to some of their songs, a lot of their songs I really love. I can listen to them over and over again. I've got a lot of material on them, and they were my favourite band. We never tried to copy them at all, although we did have a surfing song, but it didn't sound anything like the Beach Boys. But Wilson was just unbelievable. He
was from somewhere else, wasn't he? His mind and the way he thought and wrote harmonies, and steps ahead of everybody. He was
wonderful harmonies, wonderful, quite complicated, quite different sound altogether. But I love two of his songs. One from Sounds called Surfs Up, and another one called Good Vibrations, which you know of. But they've been my two favourite songs.
number one hit of the nation. That was great.
Indeed, it was wonderful.
Oh, you can still watch clips of the Beach Boys. They're still sort of playing. I don't know about now, but you can watch them as they got older and older and older. And they do these shows on the beach in America, and the people flock. You can't even see the end of the crowds. They were just they're a cult of their own. It was great.
Oh yeah.
So
they were never known for being a live act, but the sound itself, which just used to project across, it was just fantastic. They were just mind-boggling, and of course they were around for a long time too, you know. And they're still performing, all the way. It's not the same group, of course. It's changed a bit, but they're still performing.
My favourite song of the Delltones, if it means anything to the world, is Old Man River. The ending of that makes that, I just get goosebumps and the hair just pops up all over it. And that very, very end sound when you're all locking together, I still can't stop listening to it. I don't know why. Why don't I get sick of listening to it?
Well, I tell you, it's a song that's endured through the ages, of course, and from that marvellous movie, it was Showboat, I think. And I think the original singer was, what was his name now? Paul Robeson was the first guy that did that Old Man River.
Righto.
But our version...
I still, I'm speechless now because I'm starting to think about that end note when you're all getting into it. It's just great. John, I'm getting the wave over here. Ian from the engineer, Johnny here. We're going to go to a song and we've got to sort of nearly wind it up. How long have we been talking?
Well, it doesn't seem that long.
No, I could talk to you for the next 5 hours.
Well, I've been enjoying it. It's been a pleasure.
So we got to go, mate. And can I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this interview, because the people of EMFM 104.7 are just going to love this interview. And it is live stream, so it goes all around the country. And I've got people everywhere listening to the show. John's writing me notes here, like the guy out of the castle, the little lawyer. Mate, I've got to go. I'm really sorry. I've just enjoyed this so much. And I'm glad you're healthy and everything's going well, and you're going to sing back with the Delltones again. I'll have to fly up, and wherever you're playing, I'll come and say good day and watch. Say a big good day to Carla. Hi, Carla. I know you're there listening. Thank you very much for putting up with pulling this together for PeeWee to come and talk to us here at Chukamama. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Bruce.
We're going to head off, and good luck with the future, whatever you're doing, and stay safe and healthy. And thank you very much again. This is from Bruce Chapman from the Teddy Boys, interviewing PeeWee Wilson from the Delltones, exclusively here at EMFM 104.7. Goodbye, Ian, and good luck, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Bruce.
Yep.
Get it done.